welcome Andrew Hughes.
Thank you very much. Thanks to the guys for the previous two talks. Tim definitely covered a lot of the things that I think are very important. Kristen obviously gives you a really solid foundation to work from. Presentation that I'm about to give you, I made great notes from for last week and completely ignored them after about slide 2. So it's kind of going to be very much about trying to just tailor it to how I feel you're receiving this. I'm obviously aware that I'm the first person stopping you from the bar at the break, so I'll be as swift as I can. So look, all of the links, all of the mentions and everything else I've just put on a blog post, so don't worry about scribbling everything down. You can just you can pick it up from the hashtag later on. I thought I'd start with almost sharing how we view kind of the digital ecosystem, how you and how brands actually look to create content. And there are essentially a number of wheels that we look at: creation, publication of that content, engagement around that content, and then organic distribution, so people sharing, and then actually involving those people who are sharing to feed back into your content creation strategy and to create new areas where you're publishing that content. And ultimately what you're doing is you're looking to build, develop, or almost incubate your content creation process. And a lot of what we do in the media environment is effectively sitting at the upper level of that, which is amplifying it. So creative agencies create content, we then give it a platform and the distribution to ensure that the right audience receive that information. And what I want to talk about really today is how you guys can create your ecosystem, because ultimately for you, more views equals a bigger audience, more subscribers equals a bigger audience. Working together, collaborating, working with your fans, your advocates, the people who you build relationships with online, actually build the wider Boom network. It means that you can actually start to work with bigger brands and opportunities start to present. And going back to Kristen's point, the YouTube objective is that they want more people to spend more time on YouTube. The more time spent on YouTube, the more it's in their interest to keep investing in technologies and also in people like yourselves. So how do we go about creating your ecosystem? Well, essentially I see at the very start of this a platform, and in many instances for you at the moment, your YouTube channel is the platform. It's the core asset that you own. It is effectively a digital representation of yourself. You are not necessarily you're not necessarily having multiple areas that you're concentrating on. However, there are opportunities. There are opportunities to actually increase your visibility through, and I'm sure that everybody here is on Facebook. I'm sure a good number of you are on Twitter, and I'm sure a few of you are on Google+. But opportunities might be that you consider your audience in a different way. You understand and you learn from your analytics on the channel that you've got where people are coming from. When you publish a video, who picks up on it, who shares it? How do you ensure that the people who are doing that you involve them more in what you're doing? Because the more you involve them, the likelihood is that the more reach you're going to have, and ultimately that's going to impact your subscribers, your views, and also how you should be considering about engaging with people in those other spaces. You don't just want to go onto Twitter just to publish your videos. You want to go to Twitter to engage with the people who are talking about your content. You want it to be a conversation. If you want to go to Facebook and just to push content onto Facebook, you're probably not going to gain a particularly broad subscription base. You're probably going to duplicate the subscribers that you've got to your YouTube channel because they've clicked on your Facebook icon at the top of your YouTube channel. It's about creating a tonality and a personality for the different platforms that you're working on, and ensuring that you're leveraging that appropriately. We often kind of whoops, I don't know quite what's going on with the PowerPoint. Excuse me for 2 seconds. And effectively, all of those platforms that you're active in, ensure that you've made a conscious decision about where you want to bring people back to. If it's your website and you're hosting all of your or embedding all of the videos on your website, ensure that all of your channels are bringing back to that core asset, and that's something that you need to choose to do. If you're trying to promote lots of things to lots of people, you're not really going to be able to establish an identity that really is almost unique. It's just going to be the same as other channels who are curating content. If you've got a core platform that you're working to, bring everybody into that. You'll start to find that it won't just get you visibility within that platform, e.g. Facebook, but it will start to increase in visibility in organic search or image search or video search. Because now that Google has made the changes to the interface for search, you tend to find that across the top of your search bar, you've got all of those different options. People can discover you in all of those new and interesting ways. Publish the appropriate content for those platforms. So, if you're talking to people on Twitter, don't publish long form content. Publish snippets, engaging quick chatter, conversation, loop in people you want to become part of that conversation. And that goes back to your advocates, those people who are popular on YouTube, who you've identified, who you've got a relationship with. You're not trying to do anything new, you're just trying to ensure that you're active at the very earliest stage. So I'm going to articulate to you, or try to present to you, how we think about content publication for brands. It's pretty simple, but there are lots of facets to it. Content in, publication platform, content out. And as we were talking about earlier about the user-controlled distribution with brands letting go, basically the challenge that we have is that brands control everything up to here, and then thereafter it's in their publication platform, and thereafter again it's at the liberty of the users. And what you tend to find is that when we try to communicate something like this, whoa, immediately it's quite a shock for brands. Now, I'm sure that everybody here just looks at that and kind of goes, okay, news platforms, sharing sites, blog networks, social bookmarking. For a brand, that's kind of a really affronting challenge. Their legal team will have a day of apoplexy about it. But for us, the focus is on kind of this area here. We look to engage with you guys as early as possible so that we identify the platforms and build the relationships and build the loyalty and the confidence with the brands, with people like yourselves or bloggers or other influential characters. And what I'd like to kind of try to ensure that you guys take away from this is talking about that core platform that we were talking that I mentioned earlier on, that you are focusing on your personality and then building out from that, building a relationship and building a community that you can start to naturally distribute your content through. Your architecture of your ecosystem, or however we want to call it, is effectively all of the platforms that you've got touch points on. And if you focus on building your brand in one location, it means that you can aggregate all of those benefits into one location. You get increased visibility across the board. And through relationships, and I've used this example with some work that we're doing with Jamie and the team at Boom, is looking at Boom and then the partners around Boom, effectively you guys. And what you've got the opportunity to do is to work together to leverage all of your strengths, all of your subscribers if you've got something that is appropriate and relevant to an audience, you can collaborate. You can ensure that you start to distribute content to other people within the network. The more you start to extend that network, if you start to look at followers, if you start to look at then additional subscribers, you're basically gaining incremental reach. And one of the very first points that Tim mentioned was that brands are looking for reach. If you've got 10,000 subscribers or 50,000 subscribers, the consideration of your importance is considerably shifted, especially if you've got a niche audience. So, if you've got a technology blog or a fashion blog, it suddenly starts to build your influence within a particular category. And brands really, really like to identify that and work with those kind of people. Really good example of this from like a corporate perspective is Combank. Combank, I know, this here is how the search results look for a lot of branded searches nowadays. You've got a complete mix of organic, which include their website, their Google Plus profile, the Twitter profile, Facebook, YouTube channels. They've got different YouTube channels for different almost engagement points, both from a consumer perspective and then from a brand perspective. From a corporate perspective. So you've got to kind of consider who you want to talk to, in what manner, and with what appropriate content. You don't want to just give everybody everything. Really good insights for you. Use your analytics. YouTube analytics is really, really powerful. You can see when you posted something, where it was shared first. How many people here are on an active on Google Plus? Not many. Okay. Google Plus have got something really interesting to have a look at called ripples. And what that does is it shows you who was the person who was pivotal in your video being distributed to a much wider audience. It's really useful to identify challenges with platforms. How many people are watching your content on mobile? Cross-device consumption is going to become enormously important over the next 12 months. Kristen mentioned about that in her talk earlier. If you annotate everything that you do, it's going to be visible in organic search. If you don't annotate what you do, it's not going to be seen. YouTube can't transcribe video automatically for it to appear in the search results. If you use closed captioning and upload a transcript of the content, it can start to index your video as it does a web page, and you can start getting people coming in on individual videos. If you want people to pick up on your channel, some of the best touch points and the most simple touch points for people to engage is to start discovering your content, and discovery is kind of the key opportunity for you. How many guys here have heard about Authorship? It's a part of Google's algorithm for organic search, which means that if you have a website and you have all of the authorship markup, a bit like Open Graph markup for Facebook. Am I talking too technically? No? Yes, no? There's shakes of heads. So basically, on the blog post that I've put up with all of the links, there's plenty of information there about authorship, and that means that you're signaling to Google that you are the publisher, the original publisher of this content. And it starts to build your authority as a publisher, both from a website perspective or from a YouTube channel perspective. And it means that you're going to be more visible, not just in organic search, but also within YouTube search. So, building that watch time and that visibility element that, or building on that watch time and visibility element that Kristen was talking about. Links to the authorship. This is the kind of difference that you'll see in terms of the search results. People, if you're building your brand, You want people to recognise that you are the publisher of the content. You know, effectively, as that individual, you want to start drawing people into things that you have created, and brand you is the most important asset that you have. For me, WordPress is a really, really simple platform, massively socially enabled. You can manipulate it to do whatever you want to do in terms of embedding content, in terms of distributing content from there to other locations. And push and pull content. If you've got people liking your content on Facebook, if you're very active and you're getting lots of mentions on Twitter, you know, give people a bit of love. Everyone likes a little bit of recognition. If somebody distributes your content and it gets enormous reach, thanks. You know, it might be a celebrity who picks up on a particular piece of content that you've written that triggered you to get 100,000 views. Thanks. Do you know what? Possibly involve them. Collaboration is going to be one of the really important things, I think, going forward. Brands collaborating with content creators collaborating with their fans, and essentially kind of building again a smaller ecosystem there.